has really thick grass, but there's also a lot of trees around. And it's like springtime with flowers.
Describe this place. Is it flat or hilly? Look around you and see. What does it look like?
It's a little hilly.
Tell me more.
Skies are really blue. Like bluer than our skies. It's almost surreal.
Let's see what's in this place. I want you to look around and see if perhaps there's a path.
I feel like Alice in Wonderland. Like Alice. And there's Bunny and kind of like on a little journey.
Okay, so let's take this little journey and see where you go. Look around you and see if there's a way to get around.
There's a cave.
Let's go in that cave and see what's there.
Oh, it's dark.
Tell me more. Look all around you.
It's wet. Walls of the cave are wet. And I have like a something on fire light thing in my hand so I can see.
Like a torch. So let's see what's in this cave. Tell me which direction you're going in.
It's more straight. It's not like down. And there's water. And I've had this vision of this place before.
Okay, we'll keep that out of it. We're in the present now. I want you to look exactly what's in front of you.
Like hieroglyphs on the walls.
Tell me if those hieroglyphs have any color.
Yeah, they're like Native American with like the red paint. Like it's not paint, but chalk.
And in this place, in this cave, is it wet here?
No. No, the walls here aren't wet.
So let's find out what this place is. Is it larger than where you were? Look around you.
A lot of red dirt.
How much can you see in this cave?
Not a lot.
See if you can illuminate your feet and tell me what is on your feet.
Barefoot.
What do your feet look like?
Male.
I want you to use your spiritual eyes and tell me what is it that you look like?
Very handsome, buff male with just a cloth on, long black hair.
Are you wearing your hair in any way particular?
Just down. It's kind of long past my shoulders.
Do you have anything else in your hands? See if you're carrying anything.
Maybe like a small purse, like a coin. Not a coin thing, but a pouch. A pouch with tie.
With a tie?
Yeah.
What do you imagine is in this pouch?
Like herbs or something.
So let's find out what it is that you're doing in this place. What's the first thing that comes to mind? What is this place?
It's sacred. I'm talking to the spirits. Or I went there to talk to the spirits.
Let's find out what you find out while you're talking to the spirits. I'd like for you to connect with them now. And let's see what their spirits are saying. What are the thoughts that come into your mind?
Extraterrestrials?
Mm-hmm. Tell me more.
It's like I have a secret place I can go and talk to them. And that I'm like a leader back at my tribe, and I get information from them. And it's like it's a secret, though. I don't tell them I go talk to extraterrestrials. It's like I go back and I just bring information that, because they would never understand. I'm a storyteller.
So let's find out more information about these extraterrestrials to see if you've ever actually encountered them in this lifetime. I want you to go back in time, in the same lifetime, to see how you first discovered your connection with the extraterrestrials. Go back in time.
I think they came to me like as a light being. Two of them. They just appeared.
What do they look like?
Just a silhouette of a human, but it's all light.
What do they say to you when they come to you?
That they're my family.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good. I'm not scared.
So let's see what happens next. I'd like for you to close that scene, and let's go now to the next significant scene in that same lifetime. Something important is happening. Be there now.
I see fire.
Where is this fire?
It's at camp. It's in a fire pit camp. There's a bunch of the elders sitting around. There's sparks coming up out of the fire. People dancing around the fire. It's like a big occasion.
Let's find out what you're doing there.
They're doing ceremony or something.
Are they dressed any differently?
They have their headdresses on and all their garb. Rattles, and it kind of feels like to me they're conjuring up demons.
How are you dressed?
I have face paint on. I don't have any of their stuff on. It's like I'm not taking part in what they're doing. Just kind of watching.
So let's see what happens.
But I'm faking it.
What happens during this ceremony?
See, everything is going dark. It's like they don't even know what they're doing. They're conjuring up spirits.
What happens with these spirits?
They go into people. They're conjuring up spirits that go into people.
How do you feel about this?
It's like I know what they're doing. But I don't really feel that judgmental. Because I have my friends.
I see.
That it's like I see a bigger picture. But I do feel like I'm alone a lot.
What's your role in the tribe?
It's like I'm undercover. Like, what do I do?
Let's see what you do mostly during the day. I'd like for you to see yourself now doing what you typically do during the daytime.
I act like a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like killing things. It's like I'm eyes and ears for the extraterrestrials.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just an observer, so I have to play a role. It's like I allow them to see through me.
Mm-hmm.
And watch, and I'm very smart because I can play the role that I need to play without being found out about.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a family?
I don't feel like I do.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now
if I do, I'm not really connected with them very well.
Very good. So let's close that scene now. Let's go to another important scene in your lifetime. Something that's impacting you. Be there.
Well, I feel like the first thing I feel like I see is like I got shot with an arrow right in the heart.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that doesn't hurt. Just got shot in the heart.
So I want you to step away from that body and see it from an outsider. And let's see where that arrow came from.
Another jealous clan member
Mm-hmm.
just shot me right in the heart with an arrow. My own people.
Take a look at this clan member's eyes, because all the eyes are just a window to the soul. I'd like for you to look at those eyes and see if you recognize them in the life of Michelle. Who do those eyes belong to? Do they seem familiar?
Well, they're angry. This person's very angry.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to look at the face, and it's not very clear that it's an old, wrinkly, angry Indian type Native American.
Mm-hmm.
Looking a little closer.
Mm-hmm. You will recognize the soul if you know it. Does it seem familiar to you? Or is it just somebody angry?
I don't really.
Okay, that's fine. So let's leave that body. Leave that man to be there on his own. He will find peace. I'd like for you now to drift away from that scene and tell me where you go next. What's the next thing that happens to you after you leave that body? What do you see? Look all around you using all of your senses as you drift and float through time and space. What's the first image that comes to mind? Look around you and tell me where you are. Just like when you were in that cave, it was very dark. But you used the torch to light your way. I'd like for you to use your senses now to light your way to another image of another lifetime that's affecting you now. using the breath to take you deeper and deeper within. Traveling through time and space. Drifting and floating. Floating and drifting. To another time, another place, where there is information that we would like to find that helps you in the most important way.
So I go back to the ship.
Mm-hmm. Tell me what the ship looks like. Describe it for me. The more you talk, the more you'll see.
Well, don't really see much.
Use all of your senses then. Does this place seem like it's large or small?
Kind of small. Kind of a control room with all kinds of electronics.
Do you sense that you're by yourself, or is there someone with you?
No, there's like a crew, small crew. I mean, I kind of feel like it's like relating to like a Star Trek, but I don't.
So let's take a look at their bodies. What does the crew look like? Can you see their bodies?
No.
Can you see your own body?
I felt female when I first thought about where I was.
So let's go with that as a female.
And I feel like I have a uniform on, like in Star Trek.
So let's take a look at your uniform and see what it looks like. Describe this uniform for me. What color is it?
I want to say it's blue. I can't really see. For some reason, I can't really see much.
It's okay. You don't have to see with your eyes. I want you to use all of your senses. Sometimes when you walk into a dark room, you're using other senses like bats use. So I want you to use that. Use your knowing instead of your sight. So when I ask you the color of the uniform, you'll just know what color it is. You don't have to see it. So in this place, in this ship, what else do you know that's there? What's the first thing that pops into your mind? What role do you feel that you played there?
I just literally nothing is coming to me.
Okay, that's fine. So let's close that scene. Let's drift away from that scene. And I'd like for you to go back to that dream that you had when you were late for class. I want you to see yourself back in that dream. I want you to describe that dream for me. Be in it and tell me what's happening.
Well, I've got a long way to go from one class to the other, all the way across campus. I just can't understand why classes have to be so far away, and I'm never going to make it on time.
Look around you and describe where you are. What does this place look like?
college campus with different buildings. They all have names, and it's like the first day or week of classes, but it's not. But I can't remember how to get from one building to the other. I've got to get a map, and I've got to go to the desk and get a copy of my schedule, because I don't have that with me, and I don't know what room it's in. And it's like...
So take me through, and let's find out what happens. Tell me everything that happens along the way.
So I find the administration building, and I go give them my name, and I ask for a copy of the schedule. And eventually I get that, and then I got to go all the way back across the campus to the building, and then I find my classroom, and they're already in class, and I join the class.
Let's find out what this class is all about. Let's find out what you're learning in this class. I'd like for you to find a seat, and let's listen and see what it's all about. What are they teaching you in this class? And you'll just know the answer. What subject?
Well, I guess it's math. But it doesn't feel right.
Tell me why it doesn't feel right.
Because I can't really tune in. I'm having a hard time tuning in to it, and I can't remember my dream.
You don't have to remember, you just have to know it. So let's find out what it is that you're supposed to be learning in this class. I want you to see yourself there. And I'm going to count from 1 to 3. When I get to 3, I'll tap your forehead. And we'll be able to tap in to that knowledge. 1, 2, and 3. Allow your mind to expand now, and you'll be able to understand what this subject is all about. What's coming into your mind? What is your teacher trying to teach?
I don't know, because I've missed so much school, and I have all of these zeros on my report card. I mean, for every I missed all of it, so I don't know. I have no idea what they're talking about. And all my assignments have zeros, and I've got to somehow convince my teacher that he needs to pass me, because I only have like a couple of semesters left. And I need to convince him to put all A's in there where there's zeros.
All right.
And I don't know I have no idea what they're teaching.
So let's imagine now that your guide is in the desk next to you. I want you to imagine your guide sitting next to you, and your guide has brought you here. And I want you to ask your guide why he's brought you here. What do you get as the answer?
I've missed out on learning a lot of stuff, and I don't understand why.
So let's speak with your guide. I'm going to touch your forehead, and let's ask the guide. 1, 2, and 3. Good evening, guide. Why have you brought Michelle to this classroom? What are you trying to tell her?
She's been gone a very long time.
Where has she been gone from?
Her home.
Is this classroom her home?
No.
So why don't you tell her what her home is and why she's been gone so long?
She was supposed to be back before now, but the plan has changed.
Who changed the plan?
Source.
What happened? She's been wondering.
There are so many complicated things that she could not possibly understand as to why, when she left, she thought that she would be gone a certain amount, not of time, but just relative. She didn't think she was going to be gone so long, but there were a lot of things done to change. Relative space and time. And many, 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 many beings have been stuck and were not able to leave when they were supposed to. And we want her to know it's not her fault. It's not her fault that she missed out on all the lessons that she hoped to have learned, and those lessons were just put there for her experience. But there were so many other things that she learned to make up for it. The soul is learning, the soul is growing, but it isn't anything like it was supposed to be, but maybe better in the end.
Why have there been so many changes?
The dark has just done so many incursions that we never knew how it was going to turn out. And I know that she feels like she's been forgotten about and is just spinning her wheels, but on another level, her soul is growing, and she is going above and beyond. Improv. She's like improving every day.
Well, she recently made a change in part of her career. Was this part of the improv?
Yes.
What is it that she's supposed to be focusing on?
Her voice.
Her voice. Can you tell her a little bit about that?
People relate to her voice. And so they like just to listen to her talk. And they feel comforted because it comes from the higher dimensions. It has a resonance that comforts them, and more than anything, she's a comforter. She's like a babysitter. She's not really teaching anything. It's like sitting in that classroom, not really learning anything. You're just being there. You're just there.
You're just being present.
Yeah.
So when she has all of these projects, is she basically just holding space for people?
Yes.
All of these conferences and websites and everything?
Yeah, none of it really matters. It's just comforting. It's buying time. It's buying time.
What is she buying time for?
It's been stretched out, and people are so tired and confused My hands are falling asleep.
Mm-hmm. She had a lot of questions about the new Earth. Is this part of what people are all tired about?
Everybody wants it to happen now.
Mm-hmm. What do you say?
It fluctuates and changes every single moment.
Can you explain a little bit about that? Why it changes so much?
As she knows, the light team doesn't just go in and attack and change and do things against a free will plan or society or group. And so they're always on the defensive, always reacting. We're always reacting. And so how can you know what's going to happen if you're always reacting?
Mm-hmm.
You can only create and do. And that was part of the deal. How bad would they be? How bad would the children be? How ridiculous and horrible would they drag this out knowing that it's going to end? And so the more that they do against the light beings, the more the light beings can do in equality to move forward. And they were really laying low after 2012, trying to drag things out and do things in secret and not really attack, but still stealthily doing things. So nobody was really moving anywhere. Nobody was really doing a lot to... They were doing timeline incursions, and we were trying to send people back from the future to change little parts to make up for it every time they did something.
Can you tell me a little bit more about this? How you send people back? Who are these?
Future selves that walk in to their own selves. They walk in and they... How do they do that? They use their consciousness and they travel and they walk in and they try to affect the way that they reacted or did something or didn't do something in order. It's a game back and forth. The dark do something, the light go back. It all has to stop. It all's got to stop. I've been doing this for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And they caused this game. This game caused so many... We did the timeline incursions, the light, because we were doing things, going back, trying to change things, and they were using technology, and we used our minds and our consciousness, and we jump into ourselves and do something different, and it just messed everything up. Nobody knew what they were doing. Nobody knew the impact that they were having on all of it.
In what year was this happening?
Well, it's all happening in the future.
I see.
And then they're going back to try to change the outcome of the future, but that's messing everything up too.
Could this be causing some of that Mandela effect?
Yeah, it's all.
Every time they change something, it changes everything else?
Yeah, let me go into this and find out why What's going to stop? Okay, so let me go into this. So, okay, so this is this whole playground is a creation that allows you to do all this in this reality, because you can't do that out there. You would mess too many things up. It's all kind of like cocooned.
This third dimension, you mean?
No, the fourth dimension's a part of it. The fifth dimension's a part of it. It's bigger than that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bigger than that. It's like a universe that I mean, when is it ever going to stop if you can always, when you're in the future and you're out of the third dimension and you can travel with your consciousness and you can realize that you can go back to the past in the third dimension and change something to try to make your current situation better, when does that ever stop? And then the dark always know that they can, as long as you're doing that, they can do things and try to steal souls and put them in more realities like that so that they can have energy. So when does it ever stop?
How is Michelle working with this?
What's
her role in this?
So, okay, so it's just even on I can't even describe it. It's like,
And try your best.
On a, Source is doing it. Source is even going back. So Source is sending its angels back. It's bizarre because it's supposed to be happening all at the same time, but how is that possible? Source is sending angels in to unravel. It's so complicated because everything is so intertwined. And there's so many aspects of so many beings all in this reality. But Source has a plan to get things at least under control, because it's very obvious things are out of control. No doubt. But it's only being intervened on because the energy is affecting Source itself.
What kind of energy is affecting Source?
It's disharmony. It's all of the negative emotions, all of the fear and sadness, anger, jealousy, all of those emotions are, since we're all connected and we're all one, the Source is feeling all of those. Although it's not really in it, and it's not really feeling, it does vibrationally change the structure. The structure changes the composition, vibration, something like that.
Is this just coming from Earth, or is it coming from all over the place?
It's spread, and I mean, it's spread a lot of places in this galaxy. It's like a cancer. It's like a cancer in the body. It's like the galaxy is very much like a human body. And so when the human body has a cancer, it's like the Milky Way is like a cancer of the universe.
So all of these changes that are happening, how is that affecting this new Earth? This shift to the new Earth?
All of what changes?
All of these changes of going back and changing the timelines and things like that.
The new Earth was the solution. That was the solution. It's like, okay, well, it's no different than Summerland. It's a transitional place and way to heal and get out of the continuous recycling of souls, of pieces of souls, not even just souls, pieces of their souls that have been split up and sent back in. And it's a way to bring all those pieces back together psychologically, to have healing and finally have that that joy again, because there's fractured souls. If you're fractured and you're not connected to Source, you're not going to have peace and joy. And it's...
So right now there's a lot of awakening people. They're waking up to all of this. And Michelle wanted to know if she is going to be shifting to the new Earth in this body, or is she going to go home?
A lot of people aren't going to want to hear it, but it isn't like you take your body. It's more like death. But where you're going, you can reformulate a body any way you want. So there must be a little bit of miscommunication to think that you're going to take the body with you.
So you will have to go through a sort of death, or a death, in order to shift that.
To release.
You have to release it.
You have to release the third dimension, third dimensional frequencies in the body.
And is this happening in Michelle's lifetime? This shift to the new Earth? When she leaves this body behind, will she be shifting there?
Well, that's a little bit of a trick question, because the lifetime is infinite. So there is really no lifetime. It's all one big, long chain of life.
Can you explain that to her? How do you see a lifetime compared to what she sees?
Well, when someone dies, they never really die, and they continue to be who they are, and that personality just goes on to have another life. So they're all connected, and it's not like they even really change complete personalities. They're just in a different body. They have a little bit different programming, but they're still the same being. They're still the same person or being. or what is that? Like shard.
Mm-hmm. So when you showed Michelle that lifetime of a Native American talking to the extraterrestrials, what would you tell? What were you actually telling her?
And everything that she thinks is true about her connection with the Native Americans, and that you know, she's still undercover in every lifetime that she goes in on mission.
Mm-hmm.
She's still doing the same thing.
How is she undercover now?
She's what's the word? She's doing much more than she shows on the surface, even though there's so many people that are tuned into what she says, and all of that is like the icing. That's like the tip of the iceberg.
Mm-hmm.
So much more on another level that is happening, and it's about frequency, and it's about
What does she do with her frequency? Does she affect people? Just by being?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just by being born.
Mm-hmm.
So she's put into the most challenging. She does this over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. What does she do?
She goes into the darkest or densest vibration,
mm-hmm.
and then witnesses things being done to her, being done around her, being around the lower frequencies, so that she can balance that out. She's like a secret, not secret, but a specialist.
Mm-hmm.
She's a specialist.
Is she going to be doing that in any other relationships that she's considering?
Being a specialist?
Mm-hmm. Changing people? Or will she finally go into a situation where she doesn't need to go into the darkest?
No, she's going dark. She knows that. And it's kind of freaking her out. But she knows that she would get bored if she just sits around in all love and light. So she takes on the assignments that only she could handle. She's done this so many times.
In this
She's
lifetime?
done this in Orion. She's done this in the Pleiades. She's done this in other galaxies. She's a messenger and an agent and she is she takes the records. She's an observer. And she's a change agent. And she's a communicator. And she's a chameleon. And she was trained for this. But that's what it is. She's in a new situation.
Tell her about
that
that.
she didn't have the class for.
Okay.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
So what was this class that she was supposed to take?
Well, it didn't matter. There's no way to prepare for this.
Okay.
This is all the unknown. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many beings going back and changing the timelines and doing all these changes that we got thrown into the unknown where they couldn't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to just play it out. And nothing has been created in this reality yet. We're creating it. So there is nothing to change because it's just unfolding. That's what's different. And she hadn't taken a class for that. There's no class she can take for the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is. That's why she felt like she was missing her training or class, or didn't know where she was supposed to be. She just have to let it unfold.
When she came into this lifetime, or before she came in, what was her purpose? What was the mission that she came here to do?
Go into the darkest places
Mm-hmm.
and shine the light. Very simple.
Who helps her with this?
We do.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell her who you are?
I am her. I am. She's a part of me. I couldn't send a whole part of myself down and lose myself, so part of me had to stay on the outside of the reality.
Mm-hmm.
And we do. I'm more than just one.
Mm-hmm.
And we do coordination, report back, organize, assemble, plan, meet, talk, share, strategize. It's all a big job always going on.
Mm-hmm. When does this happen, all of this strategizing and planning?
All the time.
This
is a big deal. What's happening is a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Now, we have heard a lot about those starseeds coming in. All these people coming in to change things at this time. Can you explain a little bit about that? How did they decide to come here, and who are they?
They're on a higher level. They're all like angels.
Mm-hmm.
But as they split themselves up, they became lower level angels. They split themselves up. They became stars. They split themselves up. They became creators of other universes. They're all, on a higher level, they're all one big, what are they? They're one big consciousness on a higher level. But the parts of their consciousness that went down further and then were on, there's these spaceships that are just balls of light of consciousness of thousands of people or beings or consciousnesses together. There's too many there's too many beings to even mention where they came from, but they could be on another planet, they could be on a conscious spaceship, they could be on a hard spaceship, they could be in space just hanging out next to source, they could be a gazillion places. But what happened with Earth was like a virus. It was like glitch, and it began to spread, like on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
It began to affect the whole mainframe. And that's when something had to be done about it to, in effect, keep it from wiping out the whole everything.
Mm-hmm.
Period. There was it'd be like allowing a cancer to kill you.
Mm-hmm. When did this happen originally? When did we get this virus?
It was when the rules of creation were not followed, and when a person creates something, they can't just put a computer in charge of running it.
Mm-hmm.
And just leave it. You just can't do that. You have to be responsible with your creations, and you have to keep tending the garden or the weeds grow.
Mm-hmm.
And so a when would be when the beings came to Earth that were mining for gold.
Mm-hmm.
And wanted to put everything on an automatic program to make sure they were getting their gold and producing enough beings to do it. And had a slave race to do that.
So these were clones that they were creating?
They were clones, but then they got mixed with consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And some rules were broken on using other creators' bodies that they created to use their DNA. Weren't supposed to mix all those different. They made inharmonious DNA matches, and took the ability to remember that they were connected to source away, which is, that's a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do that. You don't do that.
So how long ago was this?
So it's like, the first thing that I think of is like 500,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure. Because there's been so many, it's like years are not really years because all of the timelines keep changing and get like, things get extended out. Like, they get expanded out. So, and then this team comes in and contracts it back, and then this team comes in and expands it out some more, and this team comes back and puts it back in. It's like...
So the dinosaurs could have been here 5,000 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, there's no time. It's the part that gets stretched and put back together, that time, that timeline, that's all malleable. So there's could have been 5 years ago.
Right.
For all we know. Because we insert ourselves every day we wake up. We insert ourselves into the timeline. We're time traveling all the time.
So when we go to sleep?
We're time traveling. We reinsert ourselves back where we think that we need to be to pick back up. But that doesn't mean that it was yesterday was yesterday at all.
Are we creating the timeline too? Are we creating our own reality? I've heard that when we're not even focusing on something, it doesn't exist.
Well, yes, because it is all a figment of your imagination anyway. But the thing is as long as you're in a body, you're not connected consciously you don't know that you're creating it. So that's the trick, though, because it isn't supposed to really be like that. You're like a mutt. You're like a genetic disorder, like, because you're supposed to consciously create, but you're unconsciously creating, and that means you're not responsibly creating. So it's all messed up. It's all backwards.
You should be able to just manifest whatever it is that you want.
You should be able to, and it's all hardship, and it's all backwards.
Has anybody perfected that manifestation process?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
all outside of this creation, outside of this thing that you're in.
This earth?
No, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. It's a universe.
Okay.
In itself, like a universe. So see, it's all relative. It's all relative. It's like big, little, doesn't matter. I mean, a bigger is the same as much, much smaller. It's all relative. But it is a place. It is a vibration. It is a location. It does exist because you're here. Consciousness is here. Like, what are you in, though? What are you in? You're in a vessel that's within another vessel, which is within another vessel. And all of that layering is keeping you from being your highest self. And so in a way, it's turning inside out, and your highest self is coming in to turn it all out, to make out the same as in.
So when you said that this vessel is in a different body or a different vessel, are we talking about the different bodies that we have, for example, the etheric body and the astral body and things like that? Or are we talking about something different?
No, this is more like how do I explain this? The vessel is the body, and just the words just aren't coming very, very easily. The vessel is the body, and the body is a mutt, like a mixed dog, like mixed DNA, and then and that is all put on an earth that is a creation, but it's like a copy. To let things play out. It's like a copy.
Okay.
And there's a real earth. There's like another earth where this isn't happening.
Where is this earth?
It's actually superimposed. It's like the same place but in a different space.
Okay.
And so that's the change. It's changing from one space to another space. Same template, different program.
Do we ever go to this other earth? Are we able to shift from one Earth to this other one at any time? Or is it drastically different?
It's drastically different.
In what way?
I mean, there's no industrial anything, commercial anything on the other Earth. This is like so different.
Is it
very much
pristine like it used to be when
it's very
created?
pristine. And people don't live on walk and smash the flowers and pour concrete and cut down trees. They don't need to because they can manifest what they need.
Okay.
And they can communicate with the grass. So why would they stomp down the grass? Why would they smash? Be like, hitting something over the head. Why would you hurt something?
Are we living on that Earth ourselves?
We're living there. So we're living there, but our perception is different. It's this this other place I was telling you about, this other reality. And I think it's the way to explain it is it's the body that ties us to that reality.
Okay.
So that's why leaving the body that's why the shift is like dying.
Okay.
You take the template with you, but you don't take the body with you. You take the template with you of creation, but not the body itself, because it has too many flaws. It's like the mutt.
We're going to have light bodies, is that it? A different type of body?
Not necessarily a light body. You have the template to be able to create this body. You're taking the template for the creation, but without the distortions, without the mutt part. It's like you're purebred again.
She'll be able to connect and manifest.
Yeah.
Very easily.
Yeah.
Good. She has questions about people creating their new Earth, and I guess we're talking about the same thing.
That is...
Do we all live on the same Earth when we leave here?
See, that again is another perception question. If we're all one, then there is no separation. There is no another Earth. There is no other. But when it comes down to coming down the ladder and being the individual part, the thing is that everything is so distorted right now. The perception is distorted. You're actually on the Earth template, but you're in a distorted perception of it. So individually, when you tell the story to people that you're shifting to a new Earth, you're actually helping them create that for themselves. Okay. So in a way, yes, it's individual. If you don't tell the story to the guy on the street corner, he's not going to shift, because in his perception, he's creating his distorted perception of being homeless and not having enough and not having power, and perhaps even having conversations in his head that conflict each other and all that. But if you sat down and you told him you're not ill, you're powerful, you could create you could get a job, you could do all these things, and really talked him into it, then he would believe that he could do that. So it is individual in that respect, but then you can co-create together by, it's kind of like hypnosis. You tell somebody what they can do, they can do it, and they can see it.
Yeah. One question that I have, and it seems to be one that a lot of stories are going on about catastrophic events happening to the Earth. Is this part of this cleansing of the Earth?
Well, it's not going to happen in your reality.
Okay. Why is that?
Because you're creating that part individually. But if someone else either wanted to experience what it would be like to go through the cataclysm of the old Earth falling away, then they could experience that. But those who are focusing on shifting and moving to a new Earth are going to have a very smooth and seamless type shift. They're not experiencing it now. So that there are several versions or timelines that are occurring at the same time, and people right now, there are some timelines where people are experiencing all of those cataclysms.
At this time?
At this time. It's happening right now.
Wow.
But we're not on that timeline.
Okay.
We're not experiencing that. And it all goes back to awareness and vibration. And as the different timelines and realities are splitting, the frequencies kind of, they're splitting apart. And
so what you're saying is, depending on what is happening in our minds is what is going to be happening in our reality. So for example, those people who are preppers and they like to stock up for a few years, they will be experiencing something where they will need to use all of that.
Not necessarily. There probably was a timeline that they were tied to where they knew that they needed to prep. Also, there was the guy walking up to the guy on the street corner saying, "Man, you need to prep." And the street corner guy would then go, "What do you mean?" And the other guy would say, "You need to stock up on this, 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 and this." And then the guy would go, "Oh, I got to do everything I can to do that." And off they went. They just got programmed to go do that. When in fact, the guy could, that didn't even need to happen. If the guy were to go, "Well, you know what? If that were to happen here, I would just want to die. I wouldn't want to have to, fight for food or." So it's about having a little bit of common sense and realizing that if something were to happen so bad that you wouldn't be able to manifest what you need, or you wouldn't be able to live, then half the world would die anyway.
Okay.
So what are you going to be, the one hoarding and eating all the food when everyone's dying around you? So it's about common sense when it comes to that.
Okay, good. She had other dreams that have affected her, and I'm wondering if some of these dreams are about the same thing. There was one about driving a car or a truck with no brakes, but never crashing. Can you tell her the interpretation of that dream?
She's not in control, but yet she can compromise. It's not the word. She's a chameleon. So even though she's not in control, she can certainly keep from crashing.
Okay.
And figure it out as she goes. Every little thing that's put in her way, she gets around it. She always gets around it.
So her personal life, her business life, whatever's thrown at her.
She always gets around it.
Okay.
There is no crash and burn. You have to keep moving forward.
Okay. What about driving a large RV or bus with many people on it when she's responsible for them? What's that all about?
She came here with a group of people, and they all kind of feel like that they're responsible for each other, but she in particular is more of a she's more of attending the flock.
Okay.
So feels like she has a responsibility for people that came with her, and whether it may be just perceived, it's out of love and caring. But she doesn't do that work always in her waking. It's all done on the other plane.
While she's sleeping.
Yeah, that's all done while she's sleeping. She visits them, checks on them. She helps many souls to the light when it's time for them to go. She appears to people that are dying, that are going to be leaving their body, and helps them get used to seeing light beings and comforting them. And she works on making sure that any kind of earth shifts that do happen to balance out a particular reality, like a Fukushima, that it could have been absolutely, could have wiped out the whole. Think about this. You've got a nuclear reactor that's continuously spilling out stuff. There's got to be beings that are working on that. She's one of those.
Okay.
The tsunami could have just completely wiped out so much more. And these beings are here to lessen the impact of these things that were forced upon nature.
They weren't natural.
No.
Is this the dark side you're talking about?
It's not necessarily dark. It's just they're really infected with this artificial intelligent computer glitch problem that nobody knows how to fix. And it just keeps getting a consciousness of its own and just is out of control. And that's why it's been quarantined into this different bubble that we're in. It's not an earth, it's more like a universe, but it's not. It's a bubble so that it can be dissolved, and these poor souls can be extracted and put back where they need to be, either on a new earth or back to source or in a healing place or wherever they need to be. There's a lot of souls to be, and it's not just physical. It's not just people it's not just one. We're not just talking about one soul per body. We're talking about shards of souls occupying so many shards of souls occupying a body. And then there's another level, on the astral level, so many souls that are lost. And then there's I'm not sure, I can't see if it goes past fourth or not, but when the program gets messed with, it affects across the board, but I can't see how far the board goes. It seems to be that there's even some fifth dimensional beings that just don't get it. They still aren't running the right program.
Can you tell me a little bit about these souls that are lost? I seem to encounter a lot of them that haven't left this plane and are inhabiting other people's bodies as hitchhikers.
Well, it's the vibration. It's all about the vibration. They have been recycled here so many times and put in so many nefarious situations. So many died suddenly or in the dark ages or starved to death, or there's just so many bad ways to die. And every time that happens, when their soul lifts up out of the body, it's not vibrating very fast and it just can't move. It literally can't move. So it gets sucked in to this technology that takes it to a place where they get convinced that they need to go back and do better next time and try to get out of a bad situation. Every situation's bad. All of the simulations were bad. Every single one. So as long as they kept dying in bad ways, they kept being sucked back in. So if any of them woke up and realized, I've been put in a bad situation each time, I'm not going to do that again. And that's awareness and awakening, and they get to say, this is it, I'm not doing that anymore. But that's the free will, but you don't know it, you don't realize it. So did that answer your question?
Well, a lot of them get attached to the bodies.
Oh yes, because they don't have any energy. They don't have any way to get energy themselves, because they were vibrating so low that they didn't have a strong connection back to their creator. And it's simple. It's vibration, and that's caused by fear and by the sadness and sickness and the shock of another being coming at you and killing you. Just it's all low vibrational.
So once we have these beings attached to our bodies, how can someone release them on their own? A lot of them come here to my sessions and we talk to them, we send them home, but how can someone themselves scan for these beings and send them home? Is that possible?
The first thing that needs to happen is to reestablish your own connection with your higher self outside of this reality, because this reality is distorted. And then there's also the blocks to keep people from doing that. And so intending is always the first thing to do, is to intend that you release all blocks that are keeping you from connecting with that higher aspect of yourself and source. And then, so intention to, you have to communicate with them, because those beings that are attaching themselves, they can't just be forced to do something. They have a free will.
Yes.
And even though they may enforce themselves on somebody else without asking for that permission, they always find a way in. Maybe they're invited somehow, but regardless, whether they're invited or whether they come in, they still have the free will to leave or not, unless the person says you need to leave. So it's very easy to say, make a declaration, any beings that are not of my higher self, that are not of my soul, are not allowed to stay. And the best way to send them, or to call, to create space for them to leave, is in a loving manner. And people don't realize that because their source they have a spark of source within them, and that spark may seem like a small spark. It's still like a giant white hole that is directly connected to source. So all they have to do is literally go into that little white spark that's within them. The beings have to literally just go into that, and they get to go back to source. It's not like they're going outside of them somewhere. They go through the source spark within them and get to go that way.
Wonderful. Good. Why does she have dreams that seem so insignificant and ridiculous? Are they cover-ups, or is something else that she's doing? What's going on there?
The astral realm is a very distorted place right now. And she goes, she splits herself up into many, many other parts of herself, and expands out and does so many things. She would be shocked to know where all the places she goes. So when she has a memory, that's one, just an arbitrary, maybe 1/1000th of all the places she is when she's not consciously awake in the body. She's just one little small 1/1000th of a memory of one of those things is all that she comes back with, because of the veil, because of the distortion. It's a distortion. So they mostly are meaningless, because if she only knew what she really was doing, well, she couldn't possibly process it.
She's talked about writing a book. Is that something she should do?
She needs to get one of the books done. She has several. The thing is, it's the books are programming to reprogram people, to make them believe in where we need to go. So it's not like, since we're in a false reality that's distorted, we're just trying to create a new program that is based on love and on the future of peace, and so that we move out of the distortion. So it's kind of like programming. It's kind of like your hypnosis is telling people something, and having enough people believe in it will move those people who want that out of the distorted program.
Okay, good. Can somebody help her with those books? Can we ask for a guide on that to get her moving?
Yeah, Mark Twain wants to help.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. She has questions about her past lives, and we saw one as a Native American, but she wants to know if she was a founding member of the Knights Templar.
Yes, and it was much different than anybody has explained. All the history has been changed. The true beginnings of all of that have never yet been explained. And she, if she wishes to, could actually be someone who can explain what really happened and why they were founded, and how the work that they did then was setting up energetically grid work and connection to magic for her to carry that template, thus they were called Templars, into this life, so that people have the template for magic.
Good. Would it be beneficial to perhaps have another session with Michelle so that she can explain this? She can go back to that life and we can get an explanation?
Yes, because you can't expect her brain to process things that can't be explained with words on the first on the first connection with the information, but the more she does this, the deeper she'll be able to go, and she needs to meditate more, because that puts her in the frequency to drop right into where she needs to go for a session. So some more that she meditates after this session will help her to go even deeper and deeper and deeper. And as you said, this session was important to her because she came to you and said that she could not visualize in meditation or really do any experience anything, but this session has put her in a different frequency and ability to switch, because she can always fall right into it now from what you did. You broke her barrier. You broke her barrier of control.
Good, because we have a lot of information to pry into. Was she ever in a scene?
She was a scribe. She has a lot to bring out about the fact that even the Essenes and one known as Jesus were all part of still the distortion, meaning that they were fighting for a cause, completely lost in the game, fighting for the truth of the light, but that can also be too polarized and distorted to where you think that your way is the right way when there's no right or wrong way. Being part of the light doesn't make you better than the dark. It's just an experience, a game. And they took their jobs very seriously. They worked endlessly and they just didn't get as much as they spread such good information, they were still missing the top layer, which is that we were all one, and we're in a distorted matrix, we're in a distorted reality, and as long as we keep fighting, it's going to bring fight back to us. And they were under some mind control too.
Okay.
So even okay, so who drives stakes through hands? What is that going to do to show anybody that we're all one. Mm-hmm. So it's all a part in a play. Mm-hmm. And I think that's all I have to say about that right now.
Would you be able to talk more about that at a later time? When she is able to express herself better?
One moment.
Thank you.
She will actually talk about it because it's something that needs to come out about religion and about what people think Jesus is or was, and about non-religion and about this and about that. It needs to be understood from a higher level that the dark came in for this period of time, the light came in for this period of time, then we went back to dark, we went to light. All of that is part of just a polarity game, and the whole goal here is to not rehash what happened, and to realize that it was distorted as well, but to bring all of those aspects and shards of yourself that were cut off, split up, and pushed back into that reincarnation system, to have those grand plans of doing something for good. All of those shards suffered, and they were fractals that need to be pulled back in. The game is ending, and to become whole in the present so that you can move all of your shards out of the game and into a new game. But this game is distorted, and the new game is more, well, it just makes more sense. Mm-hmm. To have a game that makes sense rather than a game you could never win over and over and over again. And the more you fight in the distorted game, the worse it got. And that's what happened. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And you kept getting more and more distorted. Mm-hmm. And the consciousness about that and the understanding about what happened is more important than particular lifetime that had someone named Jesus or the Essenes mm-hmm. working for a cause unrelentlessly, because they were just extraterrestrial beings that inserted themselves on a timeline to create a new story, try to change the future. And they were still part of the distortion by doing that. Mm. So the more beings came in to do that, distorting the future over and over and over again, gave us a future where humanity did not exist. Mm-hmm. So why not create a reality where they do exist and move all the beings to that reality?
Nice. Now, you had talked about fractals. Is there a way that we as individuals can pull together all of our fractured soul?
Yes, it comes back with understanding who you are mm-hmm. as an aspect of source, and intending that you heal those fractals and then pull that energy back to you. Mm-hmm. It's no different than you expending all of your energy someone being what they call an energy vampire, taking all your energy, but then when you realize it and you say no, you pull all the energy back to you that they have taken. Well, this is very similar because everything is energy. So it's a fractal of energy that kept getting split, and they kept sending it back through this process of incarnating. And then when something traumatic happened to you in a life, they created the situation where the spark that was inside of you when the trauma happened, part of that would fracture off, get stuck outside of you, and so then they could attach to that, and then that became its own disembodied entity in itself. So every time the whole thing was a distortion, like being in a madhouse, like being in one of those fun houses where the mirrors are all warped and everything was created so that they could continue to fractalize you and use you against yourself and consciousness and against all of your soul family that you're here with. And that's coming to an end. And you're making it happen yourself by realizing what it was and realizing that you have the power to heal every part of you that was fractured by intending and in a loving place asking for those parts of you to be to be pulled back into you, and using the power of that white source vortex within your heart to cleanse it and bring it all back in, kind of like it being sucked back in to the white hole.
Beautiful. Was she ever a priestess at the Temple of Rejuvenation in Atlantis?
Yes, and what happened with Atlantis and the priestesses and the priests and the scientists, they were all infected. They were all infected and meant to turn. They were made to turn their gifts into distorted versions of. There were sex rituals. They changed natural healing and singing and ways that the priestesses used to heal, and they made people start paying for it and giving an offering to be able to receive healing. And then people if they didn't have anything to give, they weren't getting healed. And then made the priestesses have to go do it in secret in the caves. And it just became even more and more and more distorted until the imbalance and the sadness from the power and control was so tremendously overwhelming that it caused the destruction of the civilization.
How is that lifetime affecting Michelle now?
She carries that deep sadness with her all the time.
Is it time that she released that sadness now?
Not only that, but she's carried the sadness of all of the people with her.
Would you allow me to release that sadness today?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to put my hand on your chest, and I want you to pull out all of that sadness from yourself in that lifetime, and all of the people from that lifetime. Pull it all out as I send it to the universe for healing. And tell me when I have it all. Pull it out of all of your cells. in every lifetime you've ever lived. Every aspect of you that's carrying this. And tell me when I have it.
Okay.
Let's pull it out and send it out to the universe. What would we like to put instead of that sadness?
Forgiveness.
Let's put lots of forgiveness in there. Feel that forgiveness coming in from Source. Feel the light. And I'll touch your forehead and seal that in. Can you tell me how that looks now in her timelines?
Well, that was affecting all of her organs.
Mm-hmm. Is this the dark blue things that she saw in that scan one time?
Yes, it was. The sadness of everyone in Atlantis.
Mm-hmm. So she had that stuck energy everywhere?
Everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Have we cleared it now?
Yes, there was some pain in her left shoulder a few moments ago.
What was that all about?
Something was trying to get out.
Mm-hmm. Is it still there?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Can we speak with it today?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me bring that energy up. Good evening. Are you male or female energy?
Either.
How were you created there?
Thought form.
Thought form. How were you created? What kind of thoughts created you?
Frustration.
Mm-hmm. What have you causing, Michelle, all this time?
Heaviness.
Heaviness. Heaviness physically? Mentally? Which way?
Physically.
Physically. So when you cause her physical heaviness, what does that relate to?
All of those times that she had to come in and see the same thing happen.
Mm-hmm.
The battle between the light and the dark, and the light and the dark. She carries the frustration of they're just not getting it.
Now we've let go a lot of that sadness. Why is it that you did not go with that sadness?
Frustration is different.
Mm-hmm. So how can I help you today? Would you like to be released? Or would you like to be transformed?
Transformed.
Okay. So let's see what you would like to be transformed into in order to help Michelle in the best way possible. How can you transform yourself into something positive that she could use in her life?
She could use
You said you caused heaviness.
Yeah.
Would you like to be transformed into lightness?
Yes.
So that she could feel light in her body.
Yes.
She could feel all of the heaviness melt away.
Yes.
Transforming her into a beauty that can feel light.
Yes.
Very good. So go ahead and begin the transformation. And as you transform, tell me what you are doing.
Going into all of her cells, putting light in her DNA.
Very good. Tell me when you're done.
And there's a block in her head.
What's causing that block? What do you see
It's
there?
in the middle of her, behind her eyes.
Let's find out what that energy is while you continue.
It's moving.
I'm going to move it down to express itself. Good evening. Are you a thought form or are you an energy?
Energy.
Mm-hmm. Are you male or female?
Female.
Female. How long have you been there with Michelle? A
long time.
Long time. Was she a little girl or was she?
Yes.
What caused you to attach to her?
Fear.
Fear. Mm-hmm. What happened to you? Why are you so afraid?
I wasn't afraid. She was.
Okay. So tell me about you. Did you ever have a body before?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. How old is that body right now?
I don't have a body right now.
In that time frame, when you had one.
I was a little girl.
You were a little girl. And what happened to you? How did you lose your body?
Get hit by a car.
Mm-hmm. And what got hurt? Where did you get hurt?
In the head.
In the head. Mm-hmm. So your head must hurt very much.
Not anymore.
Why is that?
Because I don't have a body.
Mm-hmm. But I imagine in that lifetime, your head hurt a lot, didn't it?
No, it was instant.
Instant, all right. So tell me, why is it that you didn't go to the light?
Because she is the light.
She sure is. She has a lot of light in her.
Yeah. And I hid behind her eyes.
And you hid behind her eyes. Would you like to feel even better than that light?
This is pretty good light.
I'm going to show you something even better. Inside of you, there's another light. It's a little spark. And that's the spark of the Creator. I want you to find that light and make it bigger and bigger. Spread that light out to where it takes up your whole being. And as it does, tell me what happens. How does it feel to be light yourself?
It feels very good to be light.
Mm-hmm. So do you see that you don't need to have another source of light? You are light?
I haven't had another source of light. I joined her in the light.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been dislodged.
Mm-hmm. Are you ready to be put together again?
Yes.
All right. So go ahead and pull out all of your energy from her head. You don't need to be there anymore. I'm going to have you go right up through the crown of her head. Archangel Michael will help you and escort you to the light. Pull it all out. And tell me when you get to the source of that light.
Okay.
Tell me who greets you there.
My mom.
Mm-hmm. May the light of the universe always accompany you. Thank you very much. And now let me speak with the higher self.
Yes.
Can you tell me if there's any others in her body like that need to be escorted home?
These are parts of her that were other lifetimes.
Mm-hmm. That didn't go home.
That were forced back in.
Mm-hmm.
And then they knew not to go back to the recycle.
Mm-hmm.
So they found a place to go until they could go straight back and not be recycled again.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't doing harm necessarily, but were carrying the vibration of that lifetime, which is not good for her.
Mm-hmm. How does she look now?
Just one moment. she's good.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything in her throat that's keeping her from getting food and water and pills down? Can you check that for her?
As she continues to raise her vibration, it's hard for her to even eat organic fruit, food, water, anything.
How can she nourish herself with her throat closing?
Sunlight.
Sunlight. She needs to be outside?
Yes.
Okay. Will that help her throat open up a little bit?
She doesn't need... People don't need as much food as they think they do.
Mm-hmm.
When they get to a certain vibration, they could live on a few figs or a few nuts a day.
Okay.
It's a reminder more than it is a block.
Okay.
She gets past the block because she's crafty that way. But it is a reminder that it's not needed.
Okay.
It's not needed to eat 3 meals a day for her.
Mm-hmm.
It's a program.
All right. So will you help her with that so that she doesn't get frustrated about that anymore?
Just one moment. Let's look into that. It's also the flap that holds things down. Has a leak in it. The esophagus. And she also swallows a lot of air.
Can we do some healing on that today?
Yes.
Thank you. How is it that she can scan her own body without being clairvoyant?
She needs to feel and pay attention to what the feelings, discomforts will show her. Discomforts show her where she's not moving her energy.
Okay. Will you help her with that so that she can understand a little bit more about her body?
She needs to listen to her body.
Okay. Well, she says she considers herself clairvoyant, although her third eye is open, but she can't see. Why is that?
Why do you need to see when you know?
She wants to be able to find implants in people.
She can use a sonar like a dolphin does. And ping a frequency and learn how to feel when it gets bounced back to her. If there's something discordant or something harmonious.
And this ping, is it a sound? Will she be using an instrument or is she using her mind?
It is sound.
Okay.
That is something that she does naturally with her voice when she's talking to people. And she doesn't even realize it.
Oh, okay.
So if she were to now be aware of it and pay attention to how it feels coming back to her, she'll be able to pinpoint things that are not harmonious.
Okay. Good. She says she uses the pendulum a lot, and she connects with the higher self, oversoul, and source. She wants to know if it's a clear channel or are there any interferences?
There are only distortions. There are no interferences.
Mm-hmm.
Distortions in the template, distortions in the thought process. As long as she's asking from the heart,
Mm-hmm.
she'll get an answer from the heart.
Okay.
If she's asking from the mind,
Mm-hmm.
she'll get an answer from the mind.
Okay.
Which may be more of the fun house than in the heart.
Okay. Do you have any messages for starseeds?
To remember that you're never alone. It's a distortion to think and feel that you're alone. And breaking through the distortion by going within your heart and remembering that you're not just a starseed, but you're a star. And you're a portion of a star, like a seedling part of a star. But if you only knew how big that star was and how loving that star is to send a piece of itself here in this reality, that was brave, and that's true love. To do that and to know that this is just a very, very, very small part of your full energy, and that rather than thinking about going back to that energy, think about bringing more of that energy here and creating something new here and expanding here and changing everything that is here into something that is there, which makes it here.
Wonderful.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're bringing heaven to earth.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any messages about the event and the new earth shift?
The event. I've heard many people talking about the event.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is everyone is right. There are people saying that the event is a financial collapse. There are people saying that the event is a wave of energy. There are people saying that the event is disclosure. The event is different for everyone, but the main event is the moment that you have the light completely encompass everything that you are, and you get to a balanced place, and you are out of the distortion for a moment of time, for a period, a moment. It's not really time. Time stops.
Mm-hmm.
And you are source. You are connected with source. You are source. You are instantly healed of anything that you hadn't completed. Mm-hmm. So you're never really lagging. Eventually, this washing over you with this light will burn off of anything else that's left, and it's like a light bulb coming on.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that moment, you can decide whether you want to go back into the body and continue with the shift of the earth and of everyone as a collective, or just bask in that moment for 100 years if you want, and then go back. It's like you're outside of time.
Okay.
And then you can better decide and understand why you need to go back, because most people will go back.
Okay, good. Do you have any final message for Michelle today?
We think that you did a really good job in explaining about trust and unfolding and allowing, and she should have enough proof to look back and see how things have unfolded, to know that everything is just as it should be. However, we will say that what she's doing is very important, and we guide her. And it is because she is in a human body and having to live in a reality that's not her true nature. It is imperative for us to help guide, and we understand when she does have questions, and we are very willing to always help. And we want to let her know that every day, every time, that every moment that she looked at the clock today or at a number, she looked at the clock at 1:11. She looked at her odometer at 90009. She looked at her device that she listens to music when it would be at 1:11, 1 minute 11 seconds. She looked up just at the moment to see the mile marker 33. She looked up just at the moment to see the license plate 77. We put as many number coincidence markers in her reality today, because that's sometimes all we're permitted to do, to show her that we're here with her every step of the way. And she laughed, and we like it when she laughs. And we want her to know that she's truly connected more than she realizes. And if she would just let us, as her higher conglomerate of lifetimes, future and past, let us drive the car sometimes. And it's time for her to start having fun. And she will look back at this day today and laugh, because it's about to get really wild for her. And the most challenging position is coming. And she will be absolutely prepared for it, because this is not something you can go to school for. It's something that you have to feel through, like if you are a Jedi on Star Wars. It's a force, it's a feeling, it's not anything you can study for. It's not anything that can be taught, and it comes from the heart. So there is no classroom that you could ever go to. You just are. You either have it or you don't. And she has it. And she's going to be connecting all the people who have it. She's going to show them how to use what they have. She's going to that's how the new earth comes into the reality, is they create a connection between the distorted reality and that reality. They create the tunnel. They create the Stargate, wormhole. She's going to show them how to use the Force to do that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Would you be willing to do a part 2 to get more information out on the new Earth?
Oh, yes.
Thank you very much. I thank you and all of those guides that assisted us today in this session. I know that she's going to appreciate it. I know I do. Wide awake, feeling wonderful all over. Welcome back. Wow.
Yeah. What's interesting is that the main thing that they wanted to get across is that I knew everything already. And I've already shared a lot of that stuff, a lot of that knowledge.
How long do you feel you were on this journey? How did it feel?
About an hour.
2.5 hours.
Really?
Really?
On this bed for 2.5 hours?
Yes, ma'am. Well, you're probably longer because that's not counting the induction.
Oh my gosh. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty good, huh?
Wow.
So do you feel like you were hypnotized this time?
No, but I think the main thing that I needed to understand is that I'm always hypnotized.
Yeah.
Every day, every waking moment, I'm hypnotized.
We already talked about that.
Yeah.
How we're already in hypnosis all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
But it seemed like you really needed to break through this time.
Now, I had a little bit of difficulty. I have no problem in waking, speaking. But I had a problem speaking. This time, I think it's not reestablishing. It's building a connection to allow a different being to speak through me. It's a different being this time. It's not the one that speaks through me all the time, because that being has no problem speaking. It's a different being. It's a new, higher level that we're connecting to.
Interesting.
That is having a little bit of a problem making my brain and my mouth talk.
That's why you need to meditate more and make more connection.
Yeah.
Do you want to share this? Taking out personal stuff?
Probably not.
No? Okay.
Because
it's big.
It is? Was it big?
Yeah.
I mean, because I feel like people may not take it so seriously because I couldn't speak.
Oh, you did great.
Because I couldn't come up with a word.
It's okay. You're trying to get concepts out of this little mouth, this little brain that doesn't have the concepts that they do.
2.5 hours?
Yes, ma'am. I don't think you remember all of it.
I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think that we think we remembered all of it, but we don't. Because there's
2.5, it was a lot of talking. A
Really?
lot of explaining. Oh, yeah. A lot of it.
I think I better make that decision after I listen to it. I think that's the best thing. I mean, I know you would cut out, because I think
all the personal stuff.
There's no way I could even say yes or no, because if it's probably a yes. But when I go back and listen to it, I'm probably going to go, oh my God, I don't remember that. Because really, if there's 2.5 hours and I think it's an hour, there's an hour and a half, I don't remember. I probably wasn't even actually present. It was great. Really?
Yeah. A lot of explanations. A lot of explanations.
Yeah, I can't wait to listen to it.
It was good.
I can't wait to listen to it because honestly, that means there was two conversations going on at once.
Maybe.
The one that I was thinking I was saying, and then what really came out.
Who knows? Who knows?
Oh my God, Alba, this is going to be
mind-blowing for you.
Oh my God, yes.
Well, we'll see what happens. Let's
2.5 hours.
Let's say goodbye anyway. Just like as if we were going to publish it.
Oh my God, 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. Well,
so you always do this right after somebody comes out.
Yes,
they're
so
just
they're in shock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell everybody how shocked you are.
I'm very shocked. 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
So what I consciously can recall feels like an hour. Mm-hmm. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, really felt like maybe an hour and a half. So there must be a whole level that I don't even remember or know that I said. And I can't wait to find out what that is.
So how was this experience compared to other experiences that you've had? I know you've been hypnotized before, or you say you've been
totally different.
Okay, what was the difference this time?
There's a part that breaks through the conscious thinking and completely surrenders you to the system, to the process.
Yeah.
And when you did that, I'm thinking, holy crap, that's ingenious. I mean, I know that that's probably a technique that you're taught in hypnosis, which
hypnotherapy.
Which is different.
There's a lot of hypnotherapy techniques that are not used. Well, QHHT is hypnosis, it's not hypnotherapy. And sometimes you do different things in order to make that person feel more relaxed. And we did a totally different induction, which was different. Did you like that?
I was totally relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes. You knew exactly what to do. You knew exactly what to do.
Well, I've done a few of these. Just a few.
In the back of my mind, I kept thinking, brilliant, but not really following it or trying to analyze it.
Yeah.
But I just remember thinking, that's brilliant, you know.
Mm-hmm. So why did you come here? What was the reason why you came here?
I don't know.
You were just led. She drove, like 3 hours?
Yeah.
3 hours to get here.
Yeah. No, I didn't know why I booked the session. I knew that I just knew I needed to be here.
Yeah.
I had watched your videos and I was very fascinated by your method and what you do and how you're teaching people through your videos.
Through the videos, yeah.
And the wait was 3 months, I think, but so much unfolded in that 3 months before we got to this time right here that needed to happen before this.
Right.
So it's worth it. I mean, it's not like we're going to die or anything before we have our session. So just wait. You know, if you book a session, just wait.
That's right. Everybody comes exactly when they need to come. If for some reason you have to cancel, it's not the right time. I always leave it up to divine guidance. Even if you have to wait 6 months, it's because you have to wait 6 months. Something has to happen for you to prepare for this.
It's almost like when you book the session, it's a trigger for your whole life to change so that when you get here... So when you get here, you're ready for the next step because it truly does connect you to your higher self. And some people, everyone's job right now is to connect to their higher self. And if you can be not hypnotized, but put into a hypnosis state to connect with your higher self, job done.
Right.
And then your whole life goes forward from there as being connected to your higher self.
And as we said when she got up, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So all we're doing right now is reminding you of how to get back into your own state of hypnosis. It's really nothing that I do. It's just getting you back to this state that is so natural for you.
Well, so the first thing I realized when I came out was I'm always in a state of hypnosis. And it's like that's what I didn't know when I booked what I was going to learn when I came here, but that's what I learned. I'm always in a state of hypnosis in waking life.
And you're channeling all the time.
You're channeling all the time. You are not yourself. You are a conglomerate of beings always channeling through you. And what we did today was connect with a whole nother level. I've been channeling with a higher self that is like on this level, and we just connected all the way up here, and it was hard for me to have any words. It was hard for me to speak, and it wasn't even like I had a thought that I was trying to, it was like almost like nothing. It was like nothingness. We connected with nothingness. And that's how you create when you connect to nothingness. And so I could have just sat there and not said anything for an hour, and it would have been just the same as what I said.
Except it wouldn't have gotten on tape.
That part
then you wouldn't have known.
Good for other people it'll be fascinating, because I only remember obviously a portion
a little portion, and it's probably going away as we speak. A lot of it's going away.
Probably so.
Yeah. So if you would like to book a session with me, I'm at albaweinman.com. I also travel all over the place, and you can look online for my newsletter, to sign up for my newsletter, and hopefully I'll be by a city near you. Now, we do have something coming up soon.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell everybody about what's coming up?
Sure. If I can get those thoughts together.
Yeah.
October 7th in Sarasota, Florida, we are having a quantum healing beyond 5D conference with Candace Crawl Goldman. We have some very special other guests as well, but you are our headliner. I've been following your technique for a long time and have seen how you've morphed it into exactly what you need to be doing. And
for
how,
me.
And how creative you've been with it, and how effective the procedure is in clearing and healing people. That's the main thing, is healing people and connecting them once again to their higher selves. So I've just went from client to like, okay, now
get yourself back.
I'm just giddy in thinking about bringing you to the audience of people who either are quantum practitioners or that QHHT or want to be a quantum practitioner or just are interested in all of this higher self healing talk. When people come to these events, the vibration is very high because all the beings come in, all the higher self, conglomerates, councils, archangels, angels, helpers, they all come in, and they help heal people as much as they allow themselves to be healed at these events.
So it's going to be nice. So if you are not doing anything in October,
come to Sarasota. Come to the 99.9% quartz crystal sand beaches there on Siesta Key. They're very healing as well. So it's a great place to have a conference, obviously. I live there in Sarasota, so I won't have to travel far.
Yeah. Well, I'll have 3.5 hours or 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Through the swamps.
It'll be cool. It'll be cool. So thanks for watching. And
so they can go to N5, not N5D. N5D is sponsoring my radio show, but Candace will have this on her website. It's not quite up yet.
And we could put it. I'll put a link on it too.
We'll put it on yours.
Yeah.
So
I'll put it on a link.
We haven't put it out yet, but it will be out soon.
Perfect.
All the details.
Perfect. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you sometime in the future. Okay? Bye. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. That's the best part.